It was great. I like it here and plan sticking around. I get it now. Hence the SCP name has light in it. Yeah. It's very... So, I think it's really cool because they took an urban legend but added a like, new spin to it, right? Instead of it being a ghost of a man that lost his head and the light is a lantern trying to find its head in the dark, it's the light of an anglerfish hunting you. Okay, so our next author doesn't have an author's page. Their name is Ghost Horses, so we don't have to look into which other SCPs they wrote. But they wrote SCP-2641, the Talk Spore. And Talk, if we look really carefully into it, is written differently, has a different like font. So let's get to it. So this is the one that Howard told me will take me a bit of time because it's one of those ones that constantly has like a different story. Like you actually have to play around with it a little bit more. But yeah, like here and it goes on and on and on. I took forever for the first one, so I think this is going to take me even longer. Part 1, objective. Tell me about your sex life. Whoa, whoa, hey. Well now, SCP Wiki. You don't... Who do you think I am? You think I'm just going to tell you about my sex life? Hell no. The word broke his stupor. I'm sorry. Are you sexually active? No. Not for a couple of months, really. That was a lie. It had been longer. Much longer. He had never been very forthright about his sex life, not even with medical staff. It's not imperative that social histories be as accurate as, say, containment procedures after all, right? Are you up to date on vaccinations? Yes. Inoculations? I believe so. How much do you weigh? Maybe the time he took to formulate a figure bespoke the sensitivity with which he always approached the subject. I can weigh you really quick, the nurse stated. She moved her hand aside her waist from where she produced a handheld device resembling an infrared scanner. It's all used for barcodes. She picked it up to her eyesight and took aim at him. The nurse clicked the handle and a monotone beep sounded. 115, she read off the back of the scanner. He looked at her incredulously. Kilograms, she finished without meeting his gaze. Okay, the doctor will be here shortly. Can I get you something to drink while you wait? Started moving towards the door. Anything... diet? He quipped. I can go check, he replied. No, that's okay. Thank you, though. I'll just watch the news. Alright then, she smiled, her lips not parting as she left. After we go stuff, you see, that was straightforward. Oh, we're just getting right into it. Sex is overrated. Well, I'm not gonna talk about my sex life, but I wouldn't say that. The room was washed featureless in the wide hum of the fluorescent lighting. The walls much farther apart than in the exam rooms he knew as a civilian defied him to find a blemish upon the pallid faces. There aren't many advantages being in one of the highest risk populations from traumatic amputations, mutant drug-resistant infections, complete and irreversible psychological collapse, hyper-acute exsanguination and declothing injuries, and one in the only at-risk population for pan-dimensional dematerialization, temporal irretrievability, and the next xenochemical liquefaction of internal tissues. I politely disagree, but that's how you feel, that's cool. I also politely disagree. But state-of-the-art medical care standards and capabilities were too, if not the only such advantage. With the push of a button, the exam chair began its massage therapy. Ooh, we're getting a little bit fancy, are we? As with selection, the scent of lemon and rosemary permeated the air. It's supplemented with purified oxygen and aerosolized got all these words! Anxiolytics. The extra O2 gave him a nice buzz. He rode through his thoughtless channel surfing, sports, glamour, politics. He stopped on the Foundation's internal informational channel. Ah, my lord. I'm so sorry about my nose, guys. I really wish this was not the case. New construction project updates another site dedicated to object containment. The rate of the Foundation discovery of anomalies is accelerating. They like to believe that they were simply getting better at their jobs. That's an expected outcome after decades of practice or process, right? Even still, a soaking sensation remained until a suspicion the anomalous has been brought to a boil. A law of equal and opposite forces applied to some fundamental particle responsible for 4,000 anomalous objects escape from the confluence of otherwise insurmountable physical constants. The anomaly's freedom naturally inclined to ride entropy like a wave, now simmering in the soul of frustrated potential energy as its collective lay increasingly in stagnation by the hands of the Foundation tailored special containment procedures. The reclaiming of their rightful place in the natural world, the term ascribed to them becoming less true with each one discovered. So, Steph, this is a rare case of how this is written, by the way. Because, as you saw before, usually the logs are written the same way as the first one we read. So this is a rare case. Sometimes, like, the logs are a little bit different, and that's always interesting. Because there's like a norm. And so whenever an SCP breaks the norm, I'm always like really curious where it goes with it. I mean, it's supposed to be the most romantic someone can do in a relationship, and people turn it into a hobby. Yeah, I mean, that's true, but at the same time, I think that's depending on like on the couple, on the people. There's still that at the end, it becoming a hobby, because at the end, like, any couple thing that can become a hobby real quick, depending on the couple. Like, you could be like, oh, I like skydiving with my girlfriend because that's a moment of us just floating around and it feels like we both are kind of like flying, we hold hands. And that could be like seen as like the most romantic thing to somebody else, but then for them it's just a hobby. It's just something that they just like doing. So that, at the end, that's a very subjective thing, right? It's like, the most romantic thing can be a hobby to somebody else. And to somebody completely else can be the most stupidest thing they ever heard. Like, so yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Like, it's like, you say you feel like the impactful meaning behind it has been lost throughout time. The romantic connection you have with your partner, but at the end it can still happen. You can still like find a partner, and then sex is like the most like connected you feel to that partner, and it's like the most like freeing, or the most like I trust you moment. And with another partner, you could be like, no, this is just what we want to do to just de-stress or just have fun. And a knock. Even the Foundation's doctors are advanced. With a sense of punctuality, he thought. The door opened without his reply. Mr. Baker. Actually, you know what? Mr. Baker. I'm gonna give him the Sylvester Stallone voice. Yeah. Yes, hello, Doctor. Hi. How are you today? I'm Dr. Fiel, and I'm part of the team here managing your care. So the tall man with the athletic build. Oh, Stallone! The type those like Luke Paul Baker imagine themselves to stand and walk like in moments of ridiculous hubris. It was rude, of course, to wonder the degree to which a person's good looks helped establish careers of intellectual authority, but they couldn't help it here. Yeah, no, that's fair. I know that, but if you're just knocking people up left and right, and yeah, of course not. I'm pretty sure me and Steph can agree with this. That we don't think that going around making girls pregnant and not taking care of said girls is not the thing to go. It's not the way to go in life ever. I mean, that's what my biological father did to my biological mom, so I'm a big time person that goes against that type of rule. Even if you're like scared, you still stick together with the person that you did impregnate. Because at least, you know, don't put her all by herself. Don't just be like, oh, well, I'm out. Like, sorry about this. Nice to meet you, Doctor. Dr. Farrell ritualistically washed his hands as he spoke. It's been a while since you've been here, hasn't it? Last time your initial employee physical and your inclinations a year or two, I read, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so how has your research duty been? Tell me about that. What do you study? Some chemistry, right? The doctor sat on a stool opposite the exam chair and mimicked the patient's body language. Been good. Yes, it is. I want to rip my nose out. I swear to Christ. Be right back. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick. Oh, damn it. So I hate people so much. Where are we? Been good. Yes, it is. Chemical solutions. We are harnessing a solanaceous exposure that, when released, forces the individual into ceaseless small talk. Baker could also almost pinpoint the second the doctor's regret bloomed upon his thin veil of an expression. He compromised with inaccuracy to redeem the conversation somewhat, but also to get through it quicker. We study an anomalous potato. Is it the hot potato from last time? The doctor nodded. His eyebrows heightened and his lips furrowed slightly at the edges. Whoa, whoa. Infectious small talk, eh? Can I get you to test a couple of my co-workers through that while you're here? Dr. Fiel's clinical front broke as he laughed at his own joke. Baker managed to force a relatively convincing laugh. He had a lot of practice with that in response to this very joke having been made on innumerable occasions. Taylor sighed inaudiblely as his sense of propriety returned him to a neutral demeanor. But, Mr. Baker, let's talk about this visit. Tell me a little bit in your own words what you know about why you're here today. Well, I haven't been having severe itching over my face, arms and legs for about 2 months now that it isn't resolved by the usual topicals. As I understand it, I'm here to follow up from the blood work taken by the on-site nurse last week. Very good. We are hiring, you know. The doctor shot a rehearsed smile. There was no laugh, though he was so bad at these moments. The training of medical school couldn't prepare him or anyone for these diagnoses. Well, that is right. Such itching is commonly due to the fungal infection on the skin. And I understand from your chart that you experienced a fungal infection relatively recently. Tell me about that. Like the rest of my team, I was at one point infected with SCP-2641 about 7 months ago. I underwent on-site medical care and most symptoms resolved like everyone else. We know the infection is mild and doesn't produce these symptoms I'm having now. Okay. Here's what I'm getting at. Part of the lab work we did was a sample to culture. We haven't gone anything to date. Usually takes about 72 hours, and has been well beyond that time, so we wouldn't expect to see anything from that. That's good news. The blood work, however, was more revealing. It showed a high rate of eosinophils. What the fuck? Eosinophils. The doctor allowed himself a breath. I don't understand what that means. I apologize. I'm sorry. Of course, that was poor form. It's like your potato spores, isn't it? He really was bad at this. Those are cells of the immune... Wait, is this still the doctor? I think no, it's not. No, it's not. Those are the cells of the immune system that are elevated when a foreign organism is actively utilizing the body. The doctor explained cautiously. He just had to pause and gauge when what the patient made of the hint. From within, it... Line! He just looks over like to a director. Line! It seems that the infection may not have been eradicated as it was in your co-workers for a reason we can discuss if you like. What team do you work for, Doctor? Thank God he's already figuring it. Infectious diseases. My subspecialty is in those with underlying autoimmune disorders. Okay, so that was the part 1 objective. Now we have part 2 subjective. I'm really curious where this is going. Cyclospora solensia pachyrifa, they got to name it. Despite all my research and they named it after me, its flagship autoimmune worst case study. Let's get this clear. Having a systemic fungal parasite named after you is no consolation. What it means is 1 week follow-ups for your foreseeable future. The nurse exits the room quicker this time, having less to go over but also having less willingness to tolerate a proximity. I'm sure. Even behind a respirator mask, and you still see she's very pretty. Okay, now calm down there. Calm down there, boy, before she asks you about your sex life and you're like, it could be you. You know, the walls are the color of limbs robbed of blood. They are suffocating me. The slight padding on the wall makes me wonder if this room could double as a psychiatric isolation. I smack the stale air, tilt my chin towards my chest, and pet my stubble. The chair remains still, and television dark. In walks Dr. File. Is this supposed to be like Dr. File? Is that what the name's supposed to be? Chief of Infectious Disease and Communicable Anomal Pathologies. His figure is cloaked in layers of personal protective equipment, an immediately disposable body gown and some non-latex gloves that I think he has double layered. These are new development and standard given a positive result of another set of blood cultures. I know it doesn't mean for it to, but it screams of my inhumanity and also of the utter ignorance of this disease. It was just 1 week ago that he shook my hand. From studies to being studied, right, Doctor? Hello, Baker. How are you faring? Well enough. I see the collection upon your cheek is still swollen. Looks a bit angrier than last time. Have you had any production this last week? Or not, I indicate the specimen collection jar on the table. The materials inside vibrate upon themselves as if mound of seizing worm. Oh. Okay, well, that's good. Now, that's not good per se, but at least it gives us more to work with here. Thank you. Honestly, that cheek looks like it's ready. Do you mind if we try to evacuate it? That's fine, but first, why me? I understand I have a weak immune system, but I got better after a week or so. Just like everyone else. How come no one else has relapsed? The doctor looks to the bedside table to confirm the needed equipment. Some gauze pads, a tongue blade, a sterile specimen cup, and some tape. He positions everything just so and swivels the stool to my left side. Many infectious agents have a dormancy period after initial infection. Syphilis, HIV, even chickenpox. That one lives in your spine for life. Ready to bloom into shingles one day. That's why they ask if he was like up to date with the vaccines, with vaccinations. I feel the sharp soreness as his fingers flank my cheek and press down. The worst part about the removal of these parasites is that the exiting through the pores of my skin actually feel good. Ugh. He scraps off the pendulous exudates with the tongue blade and quickly places them in the sterile cup. I can see his brow furrowing in the process. It's possible this has a similar prodrome phase. Nose, please, just for the love of Christ, stop acting up for the next 3 hours, I swear to Christ. The recent left shift in your white blood cells could be telling us that it was hidden from the immune system for some time. And it could have been triggered, as in the other infections, by stress. Something like that wouldn't be unheard of. As of now, it is idiopathic pandemia though, for sure. His statements may as well be squid ink. Like many doctors, he tends to throw out esoteric technical terms and maths that he actually doesn't know anything about what is going on. It's as informative as it is obfuscating. Okay, that's enough for us. But I think we need to go ahead and finish here. So, you have some symptomatic relief. I'm going to let the nurse do all that after we're done talking here. Sound good? I finally find the bravery to match this look of disgust with one of my own. Like the file, I'm just gonna say file. Because again, I almost feel like it's supposed to say file. Like the file continues. The plastic surgery team can be on board to wash out the necrosis and patch you up. I've already spoken with the team's lead and he's going to meet with you before you leave today. You and I need to talk about alternate treatment options. First off, I'm going to prescribe you some high-shelf narcotics for pain. But I'm not in any pain. I know. It's just, I'm going to be out of the office next week and would rather cover all possible fronts myself while I'm here to do this. While I'm here so as to not burden my colleagues. Don't worry, it's better to have and not need than need and not have. So, but aside from that, we're going to modify the antimicrobial regimen slightly. The antifungals on board just aren't doing the job, as I know you are aware. It is clearly something we don't understand very well. And so our data or on sensitivities aren't going to mean much, but they are all we have to go. Wait. But they are all we have to go on to be blunt. There's another drug we'd like to try. What are the side effects? Yes, good question. Impotence for once. Kidney damage, liver damage are more concerning. We have to draw labs for those weekly while you are on this. I'm more concerned about the eventualities that are more assured if we don't try this though. On one hand, yes, we have some things to watch out for and we can manage those well. But on the other hand, we have a fairly certain idea of how this will progress. The doctor pauses his speech. I know by this point in our interaction that he's providing therapeutic silence, which is just a fancy phrase for hesitation. The next sentence is going to suck. It becomes awkwardly apparent that the conversation is going to proceed unless I give some sort of volley. How is that, doctor? Well, which detail would you like here? I'm sorry? Some patients don't do well with details, so we like to ask as a courtesy. Jesus. Just give me all the details, and that's probably where we're going. Oh. So we have a little skip net. Email server. Welcome, Doctor. Security clearance log. Enter credentials. Doctor. Doctor AfroFluff. Submit. Welcome, Doctor. That's not my name! You know it! How dare you? Inbox 1. Oh my god, what the fuck is all this? Holy shit. Okay. I can see why Howard said this is gonna be taking us quite some time. Okay, so urgent. This interment. It's Dr. Gunnar Nielsen, PhD. Power Forensics Division. Dear Dr. File, upon your insistence and informal appeal to both our department and the ethics committee, we have disinterred the quarantine remains of Luke Baker. Therein, we discovered a pile of mulch-like compound. The mortuary records tell us Mr. Baker was not stored with any other organic matter. We were able to recover a relatively minimal amount of previously observed nervous tissue. Numerous tumor-like buds could be seen growing from the spinal nerves and eyes. From the eyes? With extreme precaution, these tumors were separated and analyzed. The contents include phenols, enzymes, and starch. They are potatoes. So the talc spore is potato spores. The skins of the potatoes were found in varying stages of development, the more mature ones resembling ordinary composition. The more juvenile ones, however, contained high amounts of keratin and human epithelial tissue. Looking at the current file for this, and in light of this discovery, it is my strong opinion that it needs to be completely rewritten. Respectfully, Dr. This is just going to lead back. Dude, God, what the fuck is all this? Why is there so many different steps? Okay. Let's hope that this part is like short. Final draft. The paper looks good. Not everyone gets to discover. Johan, the paper looks good. Not everyone gets to discover a new anomalous pathogen. Congratulations on the work, Alton. Final draft PDF. Okay, I think this part is probably not necessary. No, it is. Fuck. What do you mean, dude? What is going on? This is the most like multi-page SCP I ever got in my life. What happened to the rest of it? I am. Whoa. Yeah, just fucking. Okay, let me just read. How many? Holy shit, dude. This is like the most. Dr. File, when I was working at Mayo before. Oh, thank God, it's not just me. Are you like, no, this is not normal. This is like the most, like, I'm trying to like keep track of everything. What is going on? When I was working at Mayo before the foundation, I used to be very candid. The kidney doctors who managed end-stage renal disease. I'm of the specialty wherein in this living world, you typically see your patients respond to your intervention and drastically improve. I'm gonna try to read as much as possible. I might cut half of this off and read offline of it and then attach it to the video for YouTube. Because otherwise I might be here to like for like 3 hours reading this one while we still have 8 more to go. You know what I mean? So I will see how much I can read now, and then I will read offline the rest. Oh, by the way, Steph, I have a YouTube channel called Dr. AfroFluff. That's where I post all these Twitch readings. Each SCP gets its individual video. So if you want to see 1,300 till 2,000, I forgot where I'm at right now in the YouTube channel. It's there. I scheduled all of the readings over time, so till October, twice a day except Thursday, a video comes out. Just if you want. Or if you want to join my Discord and find out when I stream on Saturday, Sunday, and if I don't stream, that's also possible. All up to you. On Discord, you also get a notification if a video comes out, so... Oh, sorry. I'm just a little bit baffled, because this is so all over the place. This is... I feel like this is like a 001 SCP instead of a... Subscribe on YouTube. I highly appreciate you, Steph. The Afro is always with you. I encourage you to stay in touch with your feelings. The most disturbing components of our profession here is not the proximity to the anomalies themselves, but a chronic difference for the individuals affected by them. I've seen it develop. Let me know any way I can help you and your future patients, Dr. Wallace. So this is not a... Okay, yeah, so these are all like sections to read? You gotta be shitting me, dude. Okay, this one doesn't have one. Join us for the annual, okay, and this one doesn't have, okay, so there's 3. On the perfect plastic surgeon skin, click inside to reveal the beauty in this one. And we notice how the plastic surgeons who have been a complexion learned. The latest on SCP video on YouTube is 2364. Okay, good. Which means that in 2366 will come out in 2 hours. Load more. Thank God there's no more. Outbox. Fuck me, dude. Dr. Wallace attached in this hospital is man, Howard, you should have explained a little bit more how this one works. Like, he was like, oh yeah, it's one of those ones where you have to like jump around a little bit. He should have like told me like which part. Is the hospital stay something from Mr. Baker? I appreciate your constitution, and would like to know that you'll be credited in the upcoming publication of this case study to aid up to significantly increase this quality of life, or little if it remains shortly beyond the time of the symptoms. As you know, this is the first case of the expected many of us. Okay, so this one looks like the same as this, so we don't need this one. Final draft. Alton, would you do me a favor and look over this once more? I would appreciate it greatly. I think it's fine, but I'm just a bit nervous. God. Okay, so this one. Okay, these ones are just unsubscribe drafts. Alton, what did I tell you? This one's gold mine for publication. Delete it. Okay. Log out. And then we're back here. Okay. Alright, so now we're actually getting the SCP as it's supposed to be? I guess. Return to email, log out. Okay, let's read this first, and then, yeah. Okay, let's just see how long this takes to read. Object class saved. I feel like I just got absolutely like ping-ponged. Like my brain just like just fucking is absolutely throttled. So it's safe. This classification is currently under review. Regulatory procedures: individuals assigned to SCP-2641 are to undergo comprehensive physical examinations weekly to rule out medical conditions or diseases that may reduce the efficacy of their immune systems. Researchers and biochemical engineers assigned to SCP-2641 for the purpose of harvesting and refining immature spores must be fit tested with N95 and N96 respirator masks monthly or as needed in the opinion of containment specialists, and should not have facial hair that compromises a proper seal. Respirator masks and other equipment must be donned and doved according to the established sequential protocols of Foundation personnel protective equipment. Collected samples must be handled with pneumatically sealed glove boxes and kept in temperatures lower than 7 degrees Celsius to discourage epidemiological purchase in the event of an accidental containment breach. I don't know why, I just imagine Steph, you're like just grading your work, your students' work, just going like, okay, grading this, grading that, and then you just like, you know how like how in school sometimes you get like a the grade and then a little comment. So I imagine you're just grading normally, but then you write down potato tumor, and your students like, what what do you mean by this? And you're like, huh? Oh, that ignore that. I may have listened to something really weird yesterday and wrote down this part. My students would flip out. They're also so if I may ask, what is this SCP? I got confused for I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Mechanics, I don't know. SCP-2641 is an anomalous omicete or water mold, Psychospora solensia bacteria that colonizes a specific varietal of New England potatoes, Solanum bacterium. Potatoes that are known to house colonies of SCP-2641 are designated -1. Both are indigenous to a lone 5 × 9 meter patch of farmland in Upperville, Virginia, USA, itself designated -2. The potatoes therein are themselves not reasonably anomalous. The life cycle and metabolism of SCP-2641 are comparable to other fungi which are dependent upon vegetal root systems, the details of which are beyond the scope of this article. Premature removal of Solanum bacterium crops from the soil can result in the aerosolization of immature spores that have yet to fully adhere to the available taproots. 70% of individuals who inhale these spores develop symptoms. The affected individual display an extreme propensity to discuss topics of relative non-interest to the neglect of necessary biological functioning, such as eating and sleeping. Thus, the anomaly is so named the small talk spore in colloquial referencing. Are you saying it's a SCP that makes you hate having small talk? Infection by SCP-2641 in healthy individuals is relatively benign and self-limiting, as the nested spores are unable to successfully establish a biofilm whereby they may germinate and mature. SCP-2641 is eventually ripped by the healthy body's native cellular defenses in a vast majority of cases, with supplemental treatment curing the rest. The otherwise healthy infectee is not considered contagious, given that the individual has undergone an aseptic treatment after contact with SCP-2641-1 or -2. However, moderate isolation is recommended for the duration of SCP-2641, communicable period 7 days. So, hate small talk and SCP for autistics. I say as an autistic person. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of this. That explains why we had this whole reading before of the person going like, oh, I hate having this discussion, oh, he sucks at this. Like it literally is judging the small talk you're having, and it's like, understanding that the small talk has like a certain system, and he's like, oh, I have to do this. Not sure why, like, that's at least what I am understanding so far. I might be wrong, though. Addendum 1. Level 3 security clearance credentials. It has been recently determined that the degree to which symptoms present is highly dependent upon the dependency of the inoculated individual's immune system. This was not initially known of SCP-2641, as first-line Foundation personnel typically must be of a minimum standardized health to qualify for employment. Ah! I wish. Can we, for the love of Christ, have some sort of like technology for people with hay fever, where like you have like this like ring around your nose that just vaporizes any pollen that goes close to your nose? Because I just wanna breathe. Most severe symptoms will develop if an individual's immune system is sufficiently surmountable as a result of concurrent infection, chronic steroid usage, or autoimmune diseases such as lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, or HIV/AIDS. Further details can be accessed in development medical literature. Additionally, it has been observed on several occasions that SCP-2641 has the potential to remain in a state of subclinical dormancy, only becoming exacerbated in times of illness or great stress. Immunocompromised individuals may thus appear to resolve all initial symptoms, yet still be at high risk for sudden colonization and mortality. The immunocompromised individual is to be considered contagious for approximately 7 days post initial inoculation and permanently so in the event of systemic signs. The special containment procedures have been updated and new data prioritized fittingly. And then we have another Addendum 2, Level 3 security clearance credentials. Out of curiosity, what do you think of SCP-2641? I will say already, I understand what it's trying to do. Because if it is an SCP that hates small talk, or at least the steps you have in small talk, and because the logs can be seen as a small talk explanation of SCPs, right? It's like you have a system in there. You have the object class, special containment procedures, and the description. It's trying to avoid that as much as possible because of like its inner hatred of following those steps. And I think that's the reason why we're having a log that's so all over the place, because the SCP itself is making you be all over the place. But I will say, if that is the case, if I'm correct with that assumption, it is confusing. It is, especially if you have no idea what SCPs are post-death. This is quite a lot to take in, and given the fact that we don't have that this author doesn't have an office page, meaning that they wrote maybe only 1 or 2 SCPs, or only wrote 1, or deleted an account or anything like that. This must have been like some crazy idea they had. They put it out there. It got very low, like low ratings, which does not mean anything. I'm a defender of like, even if it's low rated, I can still. Steph, I'm a person who like, I find ways to enjoy something. I can agree to critique, but I always find ways to enjoy it one way or another, no matter how good or bad something is supposed to be, in the public eye or in a critique's eye. In this case, I'm like, I understand what it's trying to do, but I can also say, hell, confusing. On top today, research disclosed the potential fatal cause of the contagion harvested immature spores of SCP-2641 were routinely used by Foundation field agents who had passed inoculation challenges to ensure sudden and effective escape from compromising situations. The aerosolized spores were stored in capsule-like ammunitions which fit into the handheld electronic devices similar to an electronic cigarette. When needed, the device would expel the spores in a vapor, simulating the smoking of tobacco. The Foundation has discontinued the routine use of SCP-2641 in such situations, Although the ammunition devices are still produced and made available in the case that circumstances ethically permit their use. The application of this technology remains particularly useful for high-profile public figures whose medical histories and current immune system health are known, and whose speech may be censored for purposes of information containment. The special containment procedures have been shortened accordingly. For more information, contact RISA for field protocols and standards. And then we have addendum 3 with multiple different level 4 security clearance credentials. Foundation perusal of financial records and sales invoices revealed that the individual who owned -2 sold crops to members of unorganized markets as well as major distribution companies. Instances of -1 were likely among the crops. The extent of public exposure to SB 6241 is unknown. However, observational epidemiological studies are currently being designed to address this issue. Potatoes distributed by the major company have been recalled nationwide to the fabricated concerns for botulinum toxin. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not an SCP that makes you hate small talk. Maybe it's an SCP that makes you love small talk and makes you spiel everything that you know. Maybe. I'm also very confused on which side it is. Because like this part made me think like, oh, it's selling it to companies. Which sounds almost like they want the companies to like start like talking about secrets. And even before here we have like, oh, we use it as ammunition and vapors. To use it in like in missions. Wait, oh, botulinum toxin like Botox. You can get that from tomatoes. Fun fact. Wait a minute. You say Botox. And we had a section before where the doctor was saying your cheek has been like grown. Maybe you're onto something. Maybe you're onto something. Biolog initial discovery patient 0. Biolog field agent Hutch Mackenzie and Foundation agricultural botanist Jennifer Cofield stand just outside the borders of -2. They comprise a small investigatory unit sent to the coordinates after the Foundation was employed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to follow up on the unusual incidents unit, which had become uncharacteristically MIA after being dispatched in response to the discovery of 2 fully intact nervous systems found splayed across -2. The agents have protective equipment that streams audio and videos to an offsite command. So we have Mackenzie and Jennifer, right? Okay, thank God. They already removed the leftovers. I'm surprised. The local force station here has been remarkably unhelpful so far. They seem to be more interested in the weather. Even the UIU agents seem rattled. Probably just nerves. Huh. Hey, Command, you aren't supposed to be cracking jokes on the record. In fact, I'm very certain you're not occupationally allowed to have that sense of humor. That was an accidental pun. You kill me. Let's hope that doesn't turn out to be the one too. You're a paranoid one, Cofield, but I like it. This patch has something to do with the remains found, though we're not sure how. What has been established is that proximity to the site is not fatal, and that whatever happened to the poor farmer seems to be so far to be an isolated incident. Don't worry, Cofield, I'm more worried about dying of heat exhaustion in these stuffy biohazard suits. Standard precaution, Mackenzie. The picture we've gotten so far is moderately indicative of a biohazard, though there are some obvious underlying data. You have to help Miss Cofield navigate... Wait, that's Command. Fuck. I read Command and Miss Cofield in the same voice. Shit. So Command... Standard precaution, Mackenzie. The picture we got so far is moderately indicative of a biohazard, though there are some obvious outlying data. You to help Miss Cofield navigate the path substrate for anything unusual, as well as respond fittingly in the event of danger. Affirmative. You heard the boss. Let's dig some dirt. The 2 trek into the patch. The soil is freshly tilled. I'd say no longer than a day ago. Suggesting the remains decompose at an alarming accelerated rate. Where's the child? Where's it? What is his name? Mackenzie? No, what's his name? What is it from the Iron Giant? Where's the giant? Where's the robot? Iron Giant. I can't fucking type. You know which scene I'm talking about? In Iron Giant, where like when like they send a nuke, the bomb, and then the commander yells. I forgot what the guy who said send the bomb, his name is, because I thought it was Mackenzie as well. So I imagine Command having the same voice as the military leader. Suggesting the remains of decomposing that alarming accelerate. Knock it off, Command. Sorry, continue. These are potato plants. Nothing unusual about the stalks or greens. I can see a few potatoes poking out of some soil. That must be from the police and other agents, as I see several blueprints around them. Just some good old new spots, Command. I'm going to dig up more crops and see. Both begin uprooting potatoes. Mackenzie pulls one out of the ground and meets resistance. He continues to pull, and the crop finally gives several other comments with it. The video feed catches thin, filamentous appendages connecting the crops as if in a web. What is that exactly? Well, I'm not getting my potatoes from anywhere except Idaho anymore. It looks to be a fungus. It has spread along the root system and is engulfing the potatoes. It's sticky. Miss Schofield, is there anything unusual about the crops of fungus? Yeah, they're sticky. Are you even listening to me? I'm hearing you, but not listening really. No, I'm interested in what Miss Schofield thinks of them. Starches don't usually form on the exterior of the potatoes and the root systems. That is odd. I've never seen a fungus capable of this much tensile strength either. I'm going to open the potato up to see the extent of this. Mackenzie, can I use your knife? Mackenzie doesn't respond and is studying the potatoes he just pulled from the ground. Schofield scoffs and takes the knife strapped to the outside of his protective gear. He cuts open an affected potato. Oh, wow. Good lord. It's completely overrun with the fungus. Jesus, it is putrid. I gotta say, this is starting to get fishy. Another pun unintended. It is pretty unusual for agricultural fungi. Okay. Ooh. We have pictures. Okay, collect a few and place in the basket you have there. Okay, good. Now focus your eyes on the potatoes and we'll capture a screenshot on our end. Okay, looks good. Thank you. Please continue. This reminds me of a camp as a boy. Camp Duckers, I think. It was so hot there you couldn't breathe without sweating. It was all we could do, just be out there. The counselors, oh, that one in particular, what was the guy's name? I think it was Joey. It was either Joey or Johnny. Something with J. He would sit underneath an umbrella chair and wave a makeshift fan made of newspaper in his face while we all crawled on the ground in search of shade or water. It was such a spunk, probably 15 or so if the amount of acne on the face was any indication. Probably thought he was sweet on another counselor, on Jamie, but she was absolutely out of his league. I told him that one time, to his pimply face, I would have felt bad for the guy, but he was such an... Mackenzie, God, that is enough. What is your issue, son? Here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. So now, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I'm researching, and non-GMO potatoes can be at risk of carrying botulism poison if not properly cooked. It now makes sense what it is. It is potatoes that make you say everything. It's not a potato that makes you hate small talk. It's a potato that forces you to do as much small talk as possible. And in that small talk, you probably say a bunch of stuff that you don't want to know. Mackenzie, okay, Mackenzie shifts his way, puts a fist against his hip, and looks off in the farm's posture. There's something about this open space and this vibe of some simple living, isn't there? Like the more complex the world gets, the more desire I have for simplicity. I mean, how would it be like just to walk for 12 hours one day, huh? Just like early humans that didn't have much to do but just walk. Not exerting yourself amazingly or anything, just casually walking, but for like 10 to 12 hours a day. What would that be like? Mackenzie, shut the shit up and get back to your job now. One time I walked 3 hours straight. It was with my dog. You know that feeling you get when you're on the treadmill or something for a while and you get off but it feels like you're still moving? Like staying still is such a trippy feeling. Just from walking. It's the endorphins, I think. We were meant to be doing. I had a good dog once. Fox. The Sparky we call him. was trying to be a service dog, but he never could pass the exams because he would jump on people that gave him attention. He loved the attention and would lick you to death before showing even one fang. He was really good. He was real good at obedience. Just couldn't keep from his excitement. He was a mutt, but we don't know what was in him except for a lot of German Shepherd. And I'm not sure because I just don't have the time these days, or yet really, maybe one day if I can retire, but if we restricted our exercise into just walking and got enough of it to tone our bodies, I'm sure it would be the best looking body. The weights, the gym, the muscle targeting, that's all great, but I think it's disproportionate to the natural physique of the body. The treadmill, the elliptical, these are not natural machines. They make me feel like a gerbil on a wheel. I'm going to start like speaking fast as if like it's like more and more. Walking, that is the perfect exercise. If you walk enough, you would have not just perfectly flat stomachs, but the abs would be perfectly symmetrical. You ever see those abs that are well developed but look like a crooked smile? I don't know, I can't feel bad for those people despite their viable health. It's like, meh, I'll laugh at that. But that was our third dog, really, or was it our second? I can't really remember too well on account of me just getting started with my top training. Man, I always wanted to do police dog training. You know, you get to take them home and live with you. They have to. The bond is the core of the effectiveness. Man, how cool could that be? Does the Foundation utilize dogs? They should, damn it. Hey, Command, you guys use dogs? What the fuck is the matter with you two? Hey, Command, why do you make these guys shave for those masks when the suits wear off the giant's head hoods anyway? I didn't know it until I saw Mackenzie here, but taking away their facial hair is like taking away our makeup. It's a world of difference, and I don't particularly like it. No offense, Mackenzie. I mean, what if I told you that I could offer you a great job in one of those prestigious organizations on the planet, but you have to shave your eyebrows regularly? I mean, come on, guys. It's like us ladies are walking around with no bras or something. I don't have the layer of dignity. Mackenzie, Cofield, get the hell out of there. To someone in the same room. It's the fungus. It's gotta be. Go get them back, for Christ's sake. He was doing his best being nice to the baby pup. Aw. Okay. So this makes a lot more sense now. This makes a lot more sense. And now it also makes sense why we have like these like files of like so much information, because this SCP wants to share as much information as possible towards you. That's why it's all over the place. That's why we have all these shits. It's because it's on purpose made to be like going on tangents while talking about this thing as much as possible. Whoever wrote this log, not the author, but in the fictional world of the Foundation, probably got infected by it and was like, let me write the log. Let me also write this. And then this. And then that. And that's why there's like so many different things. The two do not acknowledge command and begin to separate, gross and self-contained tangential discussion. Mackenzie eventually makes his way back to the barn and homestead, where he joins the local police force in conversation. They all proceed into the house to sit in rocking chairs on the front porch and discuss the ideal home cooking. Schofield decides to leisurely walk for as long as she can with the time remaining in the day, and is off in the direction of other crop fields on the property. In the process, she steps on a snake in tall grass and is bitten on the leg. Schofield displays no sense of distress or concern for the injury and continues walking. Mackenzie and Cofield, along with the members of the local police force and UIU agents, were recovered by a standard recovery cell. They were taken to a level 1 contagion facility where empiric treatments began in an attempt to cure the suspected infection, as well as Cofield's snake bite wound. All made complete recoveries and appropriate teams were established for additional research. Administrative warns message, 2nd, 19th. Crazy, hey, welcome. You missed out on one, and I'm on the second. I'm really far behind. The below message is the latest indication informing Foundation epidemiologists to the penetrance of SCP-2641 into private sectors. Aside from marked confusion within SCP-38, no complications developed as a result of the message. We also have a new person here. Say hello to Steph. Very awesome person. I gotta say, very awesome person that has decided to join us on our fucking shenanigans. Attention, the following is a Site 38 emergency dictation from L5 administration. Please distribute the message below to the necessary personnel in a timely fashion. The rain is really coming down out there. Now that's good because my plants have been Just dying of thirst. I don't think it was supposed to rain at all today. Supposed to be later this week, I know. I have to help my grandmother get her pets neutered. They have animals all over the town. We live a bit off of Bond Road. They have a good amount of space. I ended up with 12 cats, 4 are feral. Just couldn't turn them away. They mostly fend for themselves. That's the difference between cats and dogs. Cats don't really need you to survive, but the dogs, they just run around and around and go nuts with fireworks. Bimby will bite you if you hears one, and you try to catch her, gets so upset. The little mixed one, I don't have any medium-sized ones, just either big... There's either big ones or small ones, real short legs. I'm sorry. I had to laugh because I love that it's like you have to share this information real quick, and it's just a guy talking about like, man, I used to have 2 dogs, and a cat, and you know how cats don't really need you to survive. It's just like, it's like, what? In this like foundation that's all about like keeping supernatural shit in check, just getting like a mail, it's like share this around quickly. And it's just this guy going off about like the pets they owned. it's like are you pulling my legs? So as I was saying, I used to have 2 dogs. One of the dog, you know how they like, dogs just love you, man. They just really love you. Cats can also love you as well if you really if you get the right cat. But you know how cats just like can't just exist while a dog just looks at you with full love and you just there like, what drugs is he on? Little mixed one, I don't have any medium size. He had a Botox potato, exactly. Real short legs, real long body, cute as all get out. Didn't last a week outside and had to carry her in and now it has to be in bed every night. Just out all night, up all night. Nothing unusual about that, but needs more socialization anyway. And the email just probably leads back to here, yes. I'm trying to think. I think we can potentially get... I'm trying to see like how... Don't tell me there's more. Okay, that's back to here. Okay. Steph, I hope you got yourself some snacks and drinks, because it is going to be a long one today. Same for you, Crazy Gracie and Mechanics. It is going to be a long one today. I'm going to read all of it, of this part, and then finally get... Because this one seemed to be shorter. And then we finally get to the next one, the 3rd SCP. God damn. Alright, here we go. Foundation Medical Department. MICU admission note 3rd, 21st, 2023. I think that's supposed to be the time, 1543. The patient's vital signs were stable upon admission to our unit. Medical treatment began with intravenous medication to pull off the extensive accumulation of excess fluid in the patient's tissues, notably the limbs and face. The diuresis was abnormal in that fluid, and the fluid was measured at an abnormal high concentration and contained vermiform exudates swimming into the collection bag. The entirety of the skin is coated with a tenacious mucoid substance which needs to be constantly cleared from the nose, mouth, and airways to ensure continued ventilation. A dedicated nursing team has been established for this task. Vital signs remain stable. Infectious diseases is on board. We appreciate the referral and the recommendation. And then we have the same thing. So now we have progress note. 3rd, so the day later, 7:43. Last night, the patient's airway became compromised secondary to extensive mucoid secretions. A tube was inserted to facilitate his breathing. The tube was met with great resistance during the attempt. Ooh. So there was like some fungus, Botox fungus in the throat. So an emergent incision was made at the anterior of the throat to directly access the trachea. The patient is currently supported on the ventilator. X-rays of the chest show solidified matter of the bases, though the forms are not consistently located from scan to scan. The opacities could be clearer. However, the shapes resemble finger-like, really protruding from the sides of the lungs' interior tissues. Ugh. The swelling in the limbs has not received with treatment, and the areas under the skin have become dark in color, suggesting the depth and necrosis of the underlying tissue. or possibly a rapidly increasing mass of dark pigmentation. Is this supposed to like saying you are slowly becoming a potato? Progress note. Another day later, 8:43. Mr. Baker was found by the nursing staff late last night standing on his bed. He had reportedly taken himself off of the ventilator. In addition to copious amounts of blood at the side of the neck incision, Viper's thread-like extension projecting in all directions, adhering to the nearby medical equipment and various surfaces. Yes, so he is becoming a potato. His body is become potato. Attempts to move Mr. Baker were unsuccessful. The bed was pneumatically lowered in order to reduce the risk of orthopedic or intracerebral injury in the event of a fall. However, Mr. Baker remained suspended in the air, evidently by the tensile strength of the unidentifiable threads. Monitors remain attached and indicate stable vital signs. Note in progress. Another day later. Look, I said I was a potato, but I didn't want to become one. Patient found in a web, in a cocoon, embedded within a Viper's sac formed from the previously documented thread-like extensions.
Become a beautiful butterfly.
Mr. Baker's face was obscured in attempts to excise the material from this person's resulted in alarming from the vital sign monitors that suggest the patient was in acute distress and or pain, high blood pressure, increased respiratory rate, increased heart rate. These alarms ceased when the impromptu procedure was paused. We don't yet know what. Death note. Admission information summary. Admitted 3rd 21st 2023. Admitted to MICU. Nexus stay 3.2 days. Admitting physician Dr. J. Myers, MD. Referring physician for admission Dr. J. File, MD, PhD. Supervising physician Dr. J. File, MD, PhD. Admitting diagnosis infection by a nominal pathogen. Death summary. Date time of expiration 8:44. 8:54. Physician declaring Dr. J. Myers, MD. Preliminary cause of death to be determined. Secondary cause of death to be determined. 3 text notes. Footnote says the following has been dictated by voice recognition software. Typographical errors have been minimized. Staff assigned to the patients were found unattentive to the urgent scenario at hand, instead speaking casually of home buying. The uncharacteristic behavior and topic of discussion quickly led newly responding staff to suspect the virulence of the known contagion to be increased. Under the consideration of abrupt decomposition in the patient's
My ass.
and sitting like this for 2 hours. A vital sign was determined bedside to emergency continue with the procedure with the NASA-grade biohazard containment suits. Dr. Myers, File, Mitson, and Hale presented with supporting staff. Multiple incisions were made into the Viper's tissue in an attempt to revisualize the patient such that additional maneuvers such as chest compression might be initiated. After removing several layers of the Viper's exoskeleton, an intact nervous and cardiovascular system were found still regulating remaining vital organs such as the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and eyes, along with some musculature around the latter. Mr. Baker remained medically alive throughout the procedure, and his eyes could be observed following the staff and the "Are you okay? Yeah, I just know what to do, but I just don't know what to put here. Prison, parasitic, coffin, Jesus. This is just. Oh, here we go now. So here we go. How like it was like, oh, Mr. Baker's like this. It was like professional, and now this person's also infected because now they're starting to like go on tangent. Are you okay? Yeah, I just don't know what to do. Put here, prison, parasitic, coffin. Jesus, it's just so messed up. He was alive, Tom. The only definite criterion was the only thing left on him. It's okay to cry. This is really difficult for all of us. This is my first rotation too. I mean, what have I got myself into? Oh my God, is this why we are needed here because no one else can do this? His eyes, I could swear there were fear in there. I don't know. How? Hey, okay, let's just take a break. The report isn't going anywhere. Okay, organ donor, contraindicted. Donor status, and circumstances prohibited. Autopsy ordered, yes. Family notified, pending. Okay, now we have a autopsy report, which is the last thing here. The cadaver, recovered tissues have been adequately prepped with a chlorhexadiene gluconate scrub and preserved minimally with formaldehyde. There's an intact nervous and cardiovascular system on the exam table, once belonging to Paul Baker, MRN 00039497. There's no evidence of any other remaining tissues of the native body. The nerves and vessels themselves are intact, with proper anatomy suggesting uninterrupted physiology until the time of medically induced brain death. The remaining tissues are coated in a viscous mucoid-like substance that has a high concentration of antimicrobial immune cells, denatured human DNA, monosaccharide. There is so many words I just don't understand. And polysaccharides. The biofilm is likely the residue of previously intact tissues that were xenochemically liquefied while functional. Incidentally, I can't even speak anymore. The liver shows signs of chronic inflammation, which due to the process suggests that it was caused by an underlying long-term disease. Biopsies of the liver thus far suggest HIV, given the patient's age and relative health otherwise. It is likely he contracted this through either illicit drug or use or unprotected sex. That's why they asked him. That's why this SCP started with like, how's your sex life? Because he got infected by somebody who had the spores in them, potato spores. The immunocompromised status of the patient is likely a result in the unabated domination of the body's defenses by a newly described opportunistic anomalous pathogen, Spore, Sonensia Bacteria. I attest that the above document reflects myself and my colleagues' professional conclusion and recommendation. I was present and scrubbed for the duration of the examination, which my advanced practice provider, Alan Thompson, electronic signature, Alan Thompson, CRNP, Sven Huntley, MD, end of document. And now we have this thing here. So, I shouldn't have sex with Botox potatoes. Got it. Yes, Steph, that's exactly the lesson you should take out of this one. So, the potato virus. Okay, let's see what this is all about here. Because this might be like more like on the immunomodulatory presentation, natural cause of post-aerosolized inhalation of academic. I wonder if I need to read this. But I shall like quickly skim through it. Spore is the airborne anomalous pathogen that in the healthy immunocompetent patient causes reversible stimulation of the Wernicke's area and concurrent downregulation of the prefrontal cortex glucose delivery and synaptic firing. The area of the brain responsible for the formation and pronunciation of the language. That explains that it's basically attacking your need to talk. The result is extreme loquacity that is prioritized above eating and sleeping in the affected individuals. So it's saying like, you will not sleep, you will not eat, you will just talk. Once in the human milieu, the fungus can be classified as the opportunistic pathogen. If given the opportunity, it overtakes the patient's immune system with abrupt equity and relative ease, resulting in massive tissue necrosis in a state of suspended death. A small number of epidemiological examination with respect to ZS bacterium contaminations have been directed and are here summarized as an academic introduction to the organism. Spore, yeah. Introduction. So how in the fuck do I? Okay, I guess I read like downwards. Introduction. Spore is an epicomplexing parasite that either discriminately or indiscriminately contaminates the host's non-vital tissues. The basis being the host's immune competency or lack thereof, respectively. The discovery of his pathogen has occurred within the last few years by primary care and infectious disease physicians responding to new onset symptoms, along with collected data from the Foundation Applied Chemistry Department. The primary vector of CS bacteria is a unique variety of potato, Botox potato. Listen, Foundation, if you do not take Steph's words of wisdom into your vocabulary, I'm not sure what you're doing. Solanum bacterium, which is the time of writing known to exist in an isolated patch of farmland in Virginia, USA. The potatoes provide the starch from which germinating spores derive sugar, the primary source of growth. Mature biofilms of CS bacteria colonize existing potatoes and proliferate via the natural life cycle of the potato, progressively colonizing new buds while in the soil. Prematurely, so they're kind of like a parasite. It's kind of like a parasite taking over potatoes. prematurely harvested potatoes may disseminate the spores via aerosolization and thereby access a human host. That's what happened to Mackenzie and Cofield. Organisms that are ingested by mouth are destroyed via the normal process of digestion. The immunocompetent host, and what is this fucking picture here? God damn. Patients without immune modulation diseases houses CS Brachyphyra to a relatively benign result. Once inhaled, the spores travel into the brain's blood supply via microcirculation. Spores use chemotaxis with an attraction for glucose molecules bound for the brain's neurons and support cells. It's believed that endotoxins produced by CS Brachyphyra are enzymatically specific for cells of the area of the brain that is responsible for speech production, called Wernicke area, and accumulate therein. These molecules act as substrates which render the brain cells hypermetabolic. The upregulated cells fire at unusually high rates, resulting in accelerated speech production and a lack of regulatory filtration from the prefrontal cortex, the glucose delivery to which is reciprocally downregulated to supply the hypermetabolic cells. I will say one thing, like, I understand the SCP now, but goddamn, you calm down with all these like big boy words, man. The hypermetabolism in turn stimulates the need for even more glucose to cells at Wernicke area, to which the brain responds appropriately through signaling cascades. The effect is this effect is a runaway. Oh God, my nut! Oh, smash my head in. The effect is on a way positive feedback loop of increased energy supply and synaptic activity in this area. Clinically, the individual thus speaks literally with little regard for the burdens of the topic of discussion, the environment in which the discussion takes place. Or they're trying to be professional AF. I think the writer, the author, Ghost Horses, I think they had a high interest in biology. So that's why they created like such a biology heavy SCP, not only biology but also just agriculture as well. I think they have a very big interest in those two topics and want to create some like something of like, oh, potato, which is like such an important food, and biology, how can I make this like weird, you know? But it's just like, yeah, they're trying so hard to sound like an actual professor that like it just kind of might lose you a little bit, especially because a lot of things are repeating itself, which again, it does help with the whole like this potato makes you say as much as possible. It does kind of like follow that trend, but also at the same time it can be a little bit overwhelming. Clinically, the individual does speak liberally with little regard to the pertinence of the topic of discussion, to the environment in which the discussion takes place. The downregulation of the prefrontal cortex limits the individual's ability to plan for other necessary processes such as meaningful locomotion and the attainment of sustenance. Then we have the host. The immunocompromised individuals display dramatically different and global symptoms after inoculations of CS Brachyphyra, suggest that the lymphatic system of the brain, which is the filtration system that acts alongside blood vessels to quarantine and eradicate waste and potential pathogens, prevent these spores from successfully entering the systemic circulation. Once distributed, the spores colonize tissues and cells indiscriminately and have the potential to access any organ. The most common sites of infiltration includes the muscles and liver due to the high stores of glucose. However, and you know how when your liver doesn't work anymore, you kind of just like slowly die? Is that why like the necrosis happens? Because like it sucks out all the glucose of the liver and your muscles. That's why you kind of like become like this like stiff starch-like creature. However, immediate encampment of the lungs has been observed. Regardless of the And I only understand the brain and speech parts with our powers combined. Damn, you're giving me all the chips made out of. Then I eat. Wait. You know what? That makes sense because I myself on this because of altitude terms. I say I would eat if it wasn't turning the chip. You probably. Yeah, I think I understand. I think. See, I do like SCPs where like, even though it is confusingly written, I do like that like you get hints of something in one page, and the further down you go, you get some explanation, and you're like, oh, that's why this happened. I do like when that's happening here. So I will give Ghost Horses the props that they do know how to set things up, like how like this whole SCP starts with like, how's your sex life, and then later on you read like, oh, okay, he has received this potentially by sexual intercourse. Now we have here like, oh, the spores attack your liver and your muscles and drains all your glucose in there. And then you think to yourself like, well, yeah, if your liver doesn't work anymore, that's gonna kill you. Because of the systemic metastasis, the parasites engorge themselves on glucose stores and deliver with the ability to expand to the size of the cavity organ or lumen in which the resultant biofilm is established. Extensions of the biofilm have been measured from the base of the lungs to 3 meters outside the patient. These extensions are fibrous and mucoid, providing a high tensile capability as well as strong potential for adherence to soluble surfaces. As the biofilm advances it develops the ability to xenochemically alter a variety of sources into additional glucose supplies. These sources include the skin, bone, and other musculoskeletal connective tissues. Recovered samples indicate a high glucose content and denatured proteins. When involving the dermal layers of the skin, the viscous mixture may be forcefully expelled through pores for sample collection and to relieve symptoms of severe pressure caused by swelling and inflammation. If not corrected or mitigated with symptomatic therapies, the affected individual's tissue will fully surrender to the parasite chemically reconstructive abilities, save for the nervous system, which itself becomes infested with the parasites, and the cardiovascular system, a continual motion of which prevents the same opportunities that the parasites have with less dynamic body systems. Because brain cells run solely on glucose and oxygen, both of which the parasites are theorized to produce as a byproduct, the nervous system can remain functionally intact. Because expiration is medically defined as neurological death, the individual is considered alive for the duration of the infestation. Though it has not been tested, the glucose-rich organic material fits the mineral and nutrient requirement for fertilizer, the likes of which Solanum bacterium might thrive in. And here we have a picture. And I don't know what the text is saying. I will see if I can copy and paste the text somewhere. The text is saying, the resultant cardiovascular and nervous system of Luke. So you can see how like the nervous system and cardiovascular system is starting to look like potato strand. You know how like when it, like if you leave a potato alone and it kind of like grows into like different like tethers score out of it. It's kind of happened to his like inside his body as well. Treatments. Empiric treatments for those who without a history of immune disorders consistent of pharmacological and invasive means by which to disrupt blood flow, reduce the available supply of glucose, or both. So don't eat sugar. Sedatives are first-line therapy and reduce the patient's speech declaration, declarating the positive feedback loop and emaciating the parasites, thus utilizing a medically permissible state of coma brought on by severe low blood sugars, offer a dual-front approach and have produced promising results. Invasively, no sugar, but I'm American. The pumper's full of it. Well, come to Europe. You know, how about you stay in Spain a little bit? Invasively, now technology can be deployed that artificially occludes the vessels of the brain that deliver blood and nutrients to one axis area. Artificial medication may produce symptoms of infarct, although not quite at the level of a stroke. The patient may slur their speech and become mute. However, Angiography has shown that this is purely due to reversible ischemia. And that visual occlusion has no residual effects on cell function or neurological status. Fluff is kidnapping us Americans for good diet. I could do Spain, speak Spanish. There you go, let's go! Let's fucking... let's go to Spain! Let's go to Spain! Let's go and just enjoy ourselves some dieting, eh? To make sure that those potatoes inside our body fucking die out. In all treatment options, the decrease of glucose delivery to the region encourages the spores to chemotactically seek higher concentration of glucose elsewhere. In the process, they are routinely captured and filtered by the brain's sympathetic system, then destroyed. Treatments for the immunocompromised are less established and much less successful. To date, no known intervention has been meaningfully applied. Care is usually palliative and targets symptoms to improve or sustain the remaining quality of life. This may include, but should not be limited in conceptualization to pain medications, plastic reconstruction medications to medication to reduce swelling, and that encourage the removal of excess tissue fluids. And as a last measure, incubation, sedation, and pharmacological euthanasia. Dedication. The information contained herein is the result of 17 case studies. 14 of the individuals who had been confirmed to contact CS bacteria had no immune modulation diseases or active infections. The remaining 3 did. One of the 3 was posthumously diagnosed with HIV, which had been dormant until seroconversion, or substantial number of months after contraction of HIV, paved the way for the opportunistic pathogen in question to display prior to undiscovered symptoms and mechanisms of actions ravaging his body in the shortest of observed timetables. This individual was a C-class Foundation scientist, Luke Baker. Here we go. He is the eponymous primary researcher of Solum and is the dedicant of this publication. And we finally got this one done. Jesus Christ, guys. That... You wanna know how long that took us to read? An hour and a half. We only read 2 out of 10 SCPs, and it took us 2 hours and a half to get through all this shit. I hope that all the other ones are shorter, because I God damn. That took us so long. It's not the longest SCP I read on stream, but it's definitely... Yeah, that took us a while.